What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. Got a video for you guys. This is a prediction between Ronald Hearns and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Match that takes place on September the 17th, same day as Mayweather-Ortiz. It's going to be for the WBC Middleweight Championship. Puts together the challenger Ronald Hearns against the champion, paper champion, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I made a prediction a couple weeks ago on Manfredo versus Chavez Jr., which is lined up for November. It's lined up for November, but also one of my subscribers pointed out to me that this fight was going to happen. I was not aware that this one was going to happen until actually today when I saw it on the news. So I'll talk about this one. Pretty much, Ronald Hearns is coming off of a loss to Felix Sturm, who's pretty much the longest reigning champion at middleweight, which was a 7th round knockout loss. He's pretty much done nothing to warrant another title shot, but also we know what Top Rank's doing with Chavez Jr. They're really milking it out with him, and having to face all these opponents, whether it's recycled garbage or whatever. They'll put him in the ring against whoever they know he can beat. But at the same time, when you look at it, this is actually a very winnable fight for Ronald Hearns. It's winnable. And something that's going to stand out, with this fight is you have two second-generation fighters, two fighters whose fathers were legendary in the sport, Julio Cesar Chavez and Thomas the Hitman Hearns. So, yeah, you get this little nostalgic factor to it, but it's not much nostalgia because both of them are pretty much B-level at best. And going back to when I said that Ronald Hearns can actually beat Chavez Jr., relying on, I think he can beat him, and it has to rely on his athleticism. What Hearns is going to have to do in this fight, he doesn't have the long jab like his father. He doesn't have the power like his father. He doesn't possess anything that his father even possessed. Doesn't utilize his size or jab or anything. I think he does actually fight off of athleticism. And that's only my opinion. I think he fights a lot off of athleticism. I think he's just an athlete that probably could have excelled in any other sport that he wanted to play or be a part of. I said play like he's a kid. But I think he could have excelled in any sport that he wanted to participate in. Ronald Hearns has quick hands. And actually one thing he does do that's quite similar to his father is you look at the stance. He does have kind of a bit of that wide stance with the legs wide apart. But it doesn't translate into anything. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Ronald Hearns throws his jab very quick. But his problem is he throws too much out of range. In this specific fight, Chavez Jr. is going to be squaring up. We know he's going to be squaring up. We know he has to plant his feet to get his punches off. So Ronald Hearns is going to have to move a whole lot in this fight and beat him to the jab. If the jab's the only shot that he can throw and possibly land, then just throw it. The jab is going to be the most important punch for Ronald Hearns in this fight. And it's going to be the most important punch because it could possibly set up a straight right hand, which is going to be there for him because his hands are just that quick. His hands are quick. If he can shoot off everything towards the middle, not look for a hook, unless he's countering over his jab. If he's everything has to be straight and right down the pipe for Ronald Hearns in this fight because I think he is quicker. He's quicker on his feet and he's quicker with his hands than Chavez Jr. And he's able to, and I think he does have the ability to beat him to the punch. If his back touches the ropes, he needs to find a way to get off. He doesn't turn. He doesn't turn that well when he's moving laterally. It's just everything is just a lateral movement to where he's moving from a certain direction, but he doesn't necessarily turn and pivot the way that most fighters do, especially the fighters that have been in the amateurs for X amount of years, or like a Mayweather, or even like his father, or any type of fighter with the type of base that he stands at. he doesn't turn that quick. He kind of has to set himself. But also, Chavez Jr. has to set his feet before he throws. He's not going to throw from out of range. He's going to have those feet planted. So what he wants to do is he wants to move. He wants to fight on the move. He wants to jab. He wants to, and I'm not going to say jab from angles because I don't think Hearns creates too many angles. But I think he needs to jab from different directions. Whether it's from off of his jab going side to side. He needs to, and also look for the short right hand and clinch him. I think that the clinch is going to be important for Ronald Hearns in this fight. The clinch. That's pretty much going to be the only way I see him, being able to win. I think, like I said, I think it's very winnable. He's quick on his feet. He has quick hands. And I think that athleticism will be a B-level fighter. Especially be an inexperienced B-level fighter. But also Hearns is quite a bit inexperienced as well. But Chavez Jr. in this fight, Chavez Jr. is going to have to he's going to have to try to walk down Hearns. I think on the other side, Hearns might be trying to set the tempo. But also, Chavez Jr. has to pretty much, set his own tempo. He's going to have to come in, and I think he's going to have to work a whole lot faster in this fight. Fight this at a fast pace that Ronald Hearns doesn't like to fight at. Ronald Hearns does not like to fight at a fast pace. He doesn't like to stand in exchange, and also he's easy to walk down. He's easy to cut off. And that's because, what I just mentioned, he doesn't turn that well. He doesn't pivot that well. So in this fight, Chavez Jr. is going to have to walk him down. And like I said, he's easy to walk down. The big step forward and coming inside and just go to the body. The body punches I think are going to be significant because Hearns, in the fights I've seen Hearns is tired down. His attack dies down quite late in fights. Starting in like the late to mid rounds, his attack kind of dies down a bit. So in this one, I think that Chavez Jr. needs to come forward. I think he needs to try to walk him down. Chavez Jr. has shown the ability to take a punch and give a couple back, and I think he needs to use that ability to take a punch to his advantage, to where he's making Hearns fight every minute of every round, stepping forward, going to the body, coming forward and and just applying relentless pressure to Hearns, to where he starts to fatigue and that ring gets smaller, and that will work to Chavez's advantage. I think that what he wants to focus on is setting the pace in the fight to where he's making Hearns fight early. Don't give too many rounds away. Don't chase him. Cut off the ring. Go to the body. Outwork him inside. Get him on the ropes, and pretty much make him try to turn, make him try to pivot. But when he's trying to turn and pivot, because you can tell when he's setting his feet to sit down his punches, he has to really think about it. He has, it's not done automatically. It's like he has to think about it, set the feet, then throw. And also the fact that he throws out of range. He can counter those shots that he throws out of range. So, who I think is going to win this fight? Chavez Jr. has shown the ability to fight late, and so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt in this one. I'm going to go with Chavez Jr. by a decision in this one. But I do think that Ronald Hearns has a pretty good chance of winning based on athleticism. I think, like I said, athleticism can beat Chavez Jr. And especially at this point of his career, I think that athleticism beats him. I think athleticism will be over his skill level and his skill set. But the fact that Hearns does have a history of he has fatigue in fights. He fatigues, and he's been knocked out twice, against Harry Joe Yorkie 2 years ago and recently against Felix Sturm. But I just think that Chavez Jr. should outwork him later in the fight and get the decision. So anyway, I got another video coming probably tomorrow. Danny Little Red Lopez, but I'm out of here. Peace.